Hello for all those online. Just for your information, we're just waiting for a quorum. It'll just be another couple of minutes. Sorry for the delay.
Thanks, Leslie. Sorry for the delay. I will now call the reconvening public hearing of Wednesday, June the 25th, 2025 to order. This meeting is being convened in person and by electronic means. As such, council members may participate in person or by electronic means. Any council members participating by electronic means, please ensure your video is turned on and let the clerk know if you leave the meeting for the purpose of confirming quorum. Council members are reminded that in accordance with section 14.13 of the procedure bylaw, members must enable their video to confirm quorum. If council members attending by electronic means lose connection during any portion of the hearing, we will recess the meeting until the connection is restored. If council members lose connection during the voting process, team members will get you back online quickly while we suspend the voting process. The contact information has been circulated to you. Members of the public can view the proceedings via the live stream and YouTube link, which will be posted on X at Van City Clerk. In the case of an emergency where we need to evacuate the building, I'll direct your attention to the two exits that are just past the glass doors and around the pillar. If those exits are if that's obstructed for whatever reason, please direct your attention to the four exits on the side of this chamber. Please use the stairs, don't use the elevator. And if you require accessibility assistance, please remain at your location and one of our incredibly awesome team members will hopefully get you in time and lead you out safely. Also highlight the fact that, yeah, no, they will. Don't worry. It's all good. Probably. I'd also like to highlight the fact that there is the defibrillator at the end of this hallway if we need it. I'd also like to acknowledge that we're hosting today's reconvening of the public hearing on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations, and I do want to thank them for their generosity, hospitality, and loving care they show this land that we get to live, work, and play on. I also want to acknowledge all of our incredible team members throughout the entire city of Vancouver who choose, and I want to emphasize choose, to come here every day and make our city a better place. And we've worked side by side alongside a lot of our incredible individuals, our team members, and they're just great. Lucky that they choose to be here. So with that, can we please get a roll call?
Mayor Sim in the chair, Councillor Kirby-Young, Councillor Dominato. Councillor Bly is on a leave of absence for civic business all day. Councillor Fry, not here. Councillor Montague.
Present.
Yeah. If you can turn your camera on to confirm quorum. Thank you.
Present.
Councillor Klassen.
Present.
Councillor Meisner. Councillor Joe.
Present.
Councillor Orr. Councillor Maloney. This meeting has quorum, Mayor Sim.
Great, thank you very much. Before we begin, I do have some announcements. The public may participate by speaking in person, by phone, or by submitting written comments to Mayor and Council. Speakers will have up to 5 minutes to make their comments and should limit their comments to the merits of the report being considered. Speakers should also state whether they support or oppose the recommendations and if they are a resident of Vancouver. Speakers representing 4 or more individuals or groups, including themselves, will have up to 8 minutes to speak. Each individual or group being represented must confirm their representation by introducing themselves either in person or online. Individuals represented by another speaker cannot also speak independently. Speakers may only speak once and should follow along on X at Van City Clerk for updates on the progress of the meeting so they don't miss their turn to speak. Any comments on agenda items can be submitted in writing through our online Mayor and Council public hearing feedback web form. This link will also be posted on X. Any speakers who pre-registered with presentations are reminded that the public live feed has a slight delay. To navigate through the slides of your presentation, please say next so the clerk may advance your slides. I also want to note the City of Vancouver's long-standing commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion, including utmost respect for all genders. I remind Council that when addressing speakers and team members, we will avoid using gendered honorifics and will instead refer to the person by first and last name, role, or title. A reminder that Council's role at a public hearing is to be a quasi-judicial body, which means Council is to only consider the merits of the rezoning application or heritage designation. Council members may ask clarifying questions from speakers, including the applicant, or technical advice from team members, but should save debate for after the close of the speakers list. After hearing from speakers, Council may 1. Approve the application in principle, 2. Approve the application in principle with amendments, 3. Refuse the application, or 4. Refer the application to team members for further consideration. Finally, If council does not conclude hearing from all speakers this evening, we will recess and reconvene the meeting on Thursday, June the 26th at 5 p.m. Okay, so the first item on the docket is item number 3, CD-1 rezoning, 1665 through 1685 West 11th Avenue. At the public hearing on June the 17th, 2025, council completed item 2 and subsequently recessed and will now resume with item 3, CD-1 rezoning, 1665 through 1685 West 11th Avenue. Before we begin, does anybody wish to declare a conflict of interest? Seeing no hands up, the clerk is now going to read the application and summary of correspondence received.
This is an application by Acton Austri Architects Incorporated to rezone 1665 to 1685 West 11th Avenue from RM-3 Residential District to CD-1 Comprehensive Development District to permit the development of a 20-story residential building containing 190 rental units with 20% over the residential floor area for below market rental units. A floor space ratio of 6.5 and a height of 65.2 meters or 214 feet, with additional height of rooftop amenity space are proposed. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability recommends approval, subject to conditions set out in the summary and recommendation. The following correspondence has been received since referral to the public hearing: 40 pieces of correspondence in support, 9 pieces of correspondence in opposition, and 3 pieces of correspondence dealing with other aspects of the application. This represents all correspondence received up to 2 p.m. today.
Thank you very much. This is the first call for speakers. Any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll free at 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 106-1445 # before the close of the speakers list. The phone number will be posted on X and made available on the live stream. There will be an opportunity for new speakers and missed speakers to be heard at the end of the registered speakers list. Now, we do have our team members from Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability here to present the application.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Andrew Misiak, and I'm the rezoning planner for this application considered under the Broadway Plan. The site shown in red is located on the north side of West 11th between Pine Street and First Street. The site is comprised of 3 lots, and the surrounding area is zoned RM3. The properties are currently developed with 3 3-story residential buildings with 22 units. Eligible tenants are protected under the Enhanced Tenant Relocation and Protection Policy. The neighborhood is undergoing significant change with a future subway station 2 blocks away at Granville Broadway, which is scheduled to open in 2027. The site is well served by public transit, bike routes, parks, childcare, and community facilities. It is 500 meters away from the future Granville station. There is also a bus service available within 400 meters for the number 9, 99, 16, and N17 routes. This application is being considered under the Broadway Plan. The site is located in Fairview South, Area A, sub-area. The plan permits 20-story market rental buildings with 20% of the residential floor area secured as below market rental units. The maximum density is 6.5 FSR. The application was first submitted December 19th, 2023. A revised application was then submitted in October 2024. The applicant proposes a 20-story tower with rooftop amenities. The project includes 190 rental units, of which 20% are below market units. A density of 6.5 FSR and a height of 214 feet are proposed. The main difference between the original and revised application is that the revised application removed the private child care from the proposal. This table compares below market rents and market rents by unit type. Starting rents for the below market units are to be discounted 20% below citywide average market rents. A virtual Q&A period was held from April 17th to 30th, 2024, and 116 pieces of feedback were received. Support was expressed for the rental housing units and location close to transit. Concerns related to height and density, traffic and parking, and tenant displacement. In response to public feedback, the following themes and responses are provided. With respect to height and density, the application is consistent with the intent of the plan, which helps provide new secured rental housing with below-market housing in close proximity to transit routes, services, and shopping amenities in the neighborhood. Regarding traffic and parking, the application meets the requirement of the parking bylaw and will need to provide transportation demand management plan at the time of the development permit. Staff anticipate an overall reduction in vehicle trips with the completion of the Broadway subway. With respect to tenant displacement, the applicant has provided a tenant relocation plan for eligible tenants which meets the requirements of the city's TRPP for the Broadway plan area. The public benefits of this application consist of 190 market rental units with 20% of the residential floor area for below market rental units. The applicant has also requested a 100% waiver of the citywide DCLs for the residential floor area. This application will still be required to provide utility DCL and a public art contribution. In conclusion, this proposal aligns with the Broadway plan and advances the city's rental housing targets. Staff recommend approval of this application subject to the conditions outlined in Appendix B of the report. Staff and the applicant team are available to answer questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Would the applicant team like to present the application if in attendance?
Good afternoon, Mayor Sim and members of council. My name is Mark Austrie. I'm with Acton Austrie Architects. My colleague Derek Fleming and I will be representing the applicant for this rezoning. We don't have a presentation. However, I would like to say a few words on behalf of the applicant, Mark Palais. Mark and his family have provided rental housing in Vancouver for nearly 40 years through their small family-run business. They are supporters of the Broadway plan policy, and in particular, the opportunity to expand access to good, quality secured rental housing. As staff noted, this project will provide 190 secured rental homes with 20% below market rates in compliance with the Broadway plan policy. They will replace 11 market rental units and 11 strata condominium units currently rented as secondary market. Mark understands the disruption to tenants that moving entails. His long-standing experience and ownership of rental housing in Vancouver puts him in a unique position of being able to assist all tenants in finding alternate housing, potentially in the same neighborhood at other properties owned by his family, should that be what tenants are looking for. In addition, Mark intends to offer all tenants first right of refusal to return, whether they are eligible under the TRPP or not. In closing, we'd like to thank staff for all their hard work administering the Broadway plan policy, as well as the tenant relocation protection policy. And thank you, council, for your time this evening. The consult team is here in person or online to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. So are there any questions from council to our team members or the applicant, noting that this is the only opportunity for council to ask questions of the applicant? And Councillor Meisner, you're up.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Just first question is around the daycare. I just am looking for some context, maybe from staff as to why that was removed. And in the case of when we see a removal of an amenity like that, what are we doing as a city to make up for that?
Thank you for the question, Councillor. Through our conversations with the applicant, the reason for the removal of the childcare was because of economic viability. I'd like to turn it over to the applicant if they'd like to supplement that response.
Thank you for the question. It was determined through a lengthy process of looking at the economic viability of the project with the childcare that the additional density that was being provided as incentive to provide childcare, frankly, didn't come close to recouping the cost of the childcare.
Okay. So maybe another, thank you for that. Question for staff. Are we looking at a pro forma again when these sorts of changes occur?
Thank you for the question, Councillor. I'm Scott Erdman, Senior Planner for rezoning. In the case of these projects where it's a rental with the 20% BMR, we have standardized our review approach where we don't do a detailed pro forma review because we have found through economic testing and making of the plan and in early applications that there's no additional lift beyond the delivery of the BMR.
Okay. And in terms of the childcare, that wouldn't be a standard thing that would be included in one of these projects in Broadway Plan, is that?
No, so the way the plan was written was that it incentivized the delivery of childcare by offering additional height and density, and it was an option for applicants to choose to pursue that if they would like, or not.
Okay, so has the height of the building been reduced as a result?
Yeah, so the application that's before you now reflects the height and density anticipated for development without childcare.
Okay. Okay, thanks for clarifying that. Appreciate it. And then I had another question for the applicant, if I may. You mentioned the owners, what sounds like a pretty generous offer extended to existing tenants, even if they're not eligible for TRP, some assistance, I guess, in relocating into one of the family's other properties. I'm just curious if that's been communicated to those tenants in writing.
Um,
I know you may not.
Not
know that
yet.
as- Not yet.
Yeah.
Is that the intention that
Yes,
that
it
will be
is.
communicated?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Kirby-Young.
Yeah, thanks. Councillor Meisner asked my question on childcare, so that's great. That knocks one off my list. My next one was around following up on the comment from the applicant about the intention to offer the tenants, all tenants, the right to return whether eligible or not. I know the report on page 9 says that there's 22 existing tenancies and 10 are not eligible. So I guess my question on the status is, have they been offered that to date? And is that, maybe I'll direct that to the applicant. So is that a voluntary thing? I'm not seeing that as a condition because that's obviously not required currently under the TRPP.
I'll pass it on to the applicant.
Thanks for the question. No, it's the applicant's intention to do that, but those offers haven't been extended as of today.
Okay, and when was that conclusion arrived at? Because we just heard from staff around economic testing required the removal of the childcare and landed on this working, but now you're able to extend that. So when was that decision?
Well, actually, it occurred during the June 17th public hearing that we were scheduled to participate in, and through that public hearing, it was decided to make that offer.
Okay, so that was just clear. Thank you for just casting our mind back. So we had a bit of a pause in proceedings. So that was based on listening to the feedback from speakers that we heard.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Thank you. And does city staff have any comments on that offer from the applicant around formalizing that or sort of process or procedure?
Thank you for the question, Councillor. I'll defer to my colleagues in housing to respond further.
Thank you, Council. This is Yvonne He in Housing Regulation, Senior Planner. We have no questions. We'll get in touch with the applicant afterwards. We've been working with them pretty closely on the TRP, and we can make this happen.
Okay, so just clarify, I wasn't asking if you had questions. I was asking what the process would be around formalizing that offer from the applicant.
There
What's the
is a
process?
TRP. There's a TRP covenant that is included with as a requirement. We can add that as a condition for this applicant.
Okay, so
include
for
the-
greater clarity,
the
is it
tenants.
staff's intention to add a condition based on what we heard?
This is the first that we've heard of the offer. So we will take it back and discuss it.
Okay, so staff didn't discuss that between last week and the public hearing reconvening about the process? Okay, maybe we can come back on. I know we have a number of speakers. Maybe we can get some more information back on that. I'll leave it there for now. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Councillor Maloney.
So I see that only 10 out of 22 existing residential tenancies are eligible under the TRPP, and I'm just curious to know why so few.
Thank you for the question, Councillor. I'll defer that question to our staff in housing.
Thank you, Council. There were only 10 tenants who had met the eligibility criteria of having lived in the building for 1 year at the time of rezoning application.
And I'm very curious. So why are so many of the tenants new into the building? Do you know?
My understanding from the applicant is that they decided not to continue to tenant the building after they submitted the rezoning application, but you may need to direct to applicant for more details.
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks for the question. So it's our understanding that from 2020, at the onset of the pandemic, and for a few years following that, as suites became vacant, they were rented out furnished. And the suites that were rented out furnished had a higher rate of turnover than unfurnished suites. And that resulted in the number of tenants that were eligible at the time.
Okay, thanks very much. And I'm also interested to know, I see that there is a parkade. Is there provision for bike parking and scooter parking in the underground area?
I'm just going to ask my colleague, Derek Fleming,
Especially
to respond to that. Thanks.
Hi. Yes, thank you for that. There is provision for bike parking, secure bike parking in the parkade, and although the TDM measures are submitted as part of the DP application, we're anticipating TDM Package B, which is the enhanced bicycle parking measures. So that means an additional 30% secure bike parking and additional bike lockers and things of that nature in the parkade.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay. So this is the second call for speakers. If there are any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll free at 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 10614445#. Before the close of the speakers list, the phone number will be posted on X and made available on the live stream. We're now going to hear from the public. Any registered speakers in the council chamber, please come forward to the podium when your name is called. Speakers will have up to 5 minutes to make their comments and should limit their comments to the merits of the report being considered. So now the first speaker we have today is speaker number 1, Neil Pollock. I think Neil's online.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you great. Please go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts. And my name is Neil Pollock. And I wanted to call to give my support for this project. My perspective is, as a parent with 3 children, and all of them are young adults now. And, my children are graduating from university, and I think about housing opportunities available to them as they move out of the family home in the coming years. And, I'm worried that there'll be limited options available to them in, well-connected, vibrant neighborhoods. Looking at the plans of this project on 11th and Pine, I think really it'll offer some amazing options, and adding almost 200 homes with 1, 2, 3 bedrooms so close to the new Broadway and Granville SkyTrain station is really ideal. As my children enter the workforce, they'll likely be working downtown, so having housing options nearby and on transit is valuable. So, in summary, this project obviously, has my full support, and thank you for considering my opinion.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 2, Ninad Pruj, and I'm almost confident I mispronounced that, your name.
Hello, my name is Nenad Prjul. Thank you for the opportunity to offer comments in support of the 1665 to 1685 West 11th development. My wife and I have 2 children in Vancouver who are now young adults, aged 23 and 25 years old. Both still live at home, but won't be the case forever. So I'm strongly in favor of projects like this that help ensure the next generation can actually find a place to live in the city they grew up in. The Broadway plan set a clear roadmap for housing, and I think this project aligns well with its goals by delivering new rental homes, including affordable options, amenity spaces, and location that's well connected to the transit. I've also been a tenant in one of the applicant's buildings for 20 years. From my experience, he's been respectful, responsive, and generously cares about the people who live in this building. That gives me the confidence that this new project will be well managed and a good fit for the neighborhood. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak.
Great, thank you very much. Next speaker is speaker number 3, Stephen Bohus.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name's Stephen Bose. I live in Vancouver. I'm a renter. I'm opposed to this rezoning. I work in Fairview, actually, a couple of minutes away on foot from the site, so I know the area quite well. And the slide shows the rental building at 1675 West 7th, or the Jacob. Next slide, please. And well, which one is which? So the slide on the right is actually the next application. And if you look at the two renderings, like the buildings look very, very similar because they are. It's the same applicant, the same architects. And with the Broadway plan, you have like the cookie cutter approach to design with a specification. And here you have an identical design or virtually identical design for both sides. So it's not really responding to a site. It is a general design to be plopped down. Next slide. And it's same ownership with Mark Palai, and I don't know how many towers they've built. If you look at this slide, this is just taken recently, and you can see a 25-space private childcare facility right there with the arrow. And this was used in consultation, and the results from the public may have been in support of a childcare, but now they've taken it out. So I think this is somewhat of a bait and switch here. There, and it's still on the rezoning sign. There's a little sticker that, yeah, go to the website because it's been updated, but you could have put a little sticker there with the new specification. So I think that's not the right way to do it. Next slide. Well, you've got a situation here where I've modeled a massive model on the left of the proposal at Pine, which is just off the rendering to the south, and West 11th. And across the street, there is another very, very large building that's proposed on a mature rental site. Next slide. And here is the rezoning sign for 1676 West 17th. So you should really look at these things in context. What happens when you put a large tower across the street from another large tower? There are very large impacts on the human scale and urbanism. But that's not all. I did ask for advance. Just watch the advancing. This site is for sale across the street. So when I talk about rezoning to flip, I think there's a prime example across the street at 1676 West 11th, where they've actually advertised that the site is for sale with an active rezoning application. And I'm afraid that we're seeing this more and more, that speculators are coming in asking for rezonings and looking to flip them, whether they've been rezoned or in the process of being rezoned. Next slide. Here is something in slide in February, just showing the relationship with a very wide angle lens of one side of the street with the site for sale across from the other side of the street with the rezoning in question. Next slide. You can see that there are large mature trees on the site that would all be removed or mostly removed. So you're losing vegetation, you're losing the human scale, and you're creating a lot of land lift there that will probably be flipped for speculators. Next slide. If you look at the context, there are a huge number of rezoning applications. You recently approved 2 between Burrard and Pine Street on West 12th for 24 stories, not 20, and Twin Towers at Kitty Corner, Pine. And there's a lot of density going in at once, and there is no pace of change policy. So next slide. The other thing is that the applicants were submitting incorrect data, like incorrect shadow studies, which were corrected because you can look at the shadow study for across the street compared to the ones that were corrected. And this is not the first time with this architect having incorrect shadow studies. Happened with Burrard Slopes Park and with the Independent Rise and so on. So I would hope that these things are flagged before they go to public consultation. Next slide. Here's another rendering in context. So there are a lot of issues with huge amount of land lift and demo evictions that would entail. Next slide. View down looking east on West 11th. Just so you can get an idea of the massing, this isn't a West End tower. This is a completely different beast, whether it's 6.5 FSR 6.8. These are very, very large, dense proposals. Next slide. And yeah, you're looking at demo evicting more tenants for a potential flip. Next slide. And next slide. I could talk more about the pace of change policy that this council chose not to approve. Thank you for your time and consideration. Please don't approve this rezoning, and the Broadway plan needs a rework or needs to be repealed. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 4, Louis Villegas.
And we could click to the first slide, please. My name is Louis Villegas. I'm a 40-year Vancouver resident with 40 years experience practicing urbanism in Canada and in the United States. Next. I'm opposed to this Frankenstein, one-size-fits-all towers and SkyTrain Broadway plan and to the tower that's been made from it. Our city is being bastardized, sold off to the highest bidder. Next. Every tower approved by government perpetuates the housing crisis, destroying families, destroying neighborhoods, destroying the Canadian middle class, and reno-evicting local residents. Next. All that misery raining down on our neighborhoods courtesy of government for what purpose? For the purpose to build towers. Towers make money, and government wants skin in the game. Furthermore, big towers make big money, but only for a small cadre of developers. Next. Of course, as human beings, we perceive both objects and spaces. Yet I can only find towers in the Frankenstein plan. I mentioned that this space was created in the concept plan that I provided to the City of Vancouver for the Olympic Village. It was, at the time that I got involved, going to be built all full of towers. The real estate department here at the city had reached out to me to tell me that the city would make more money if towers were built. I pointed out that towers wouldn't make a village. Next. Or a neighborhood for that matter. Here at City Hall, where the understanding is weak for how to design good urban spaces, 5 towers are massed, blocking the mountains and the morning sun. In the afternoon, as the hot sun moves around City Hall Tower, it will fry anyone in the square as it reflects off the glass towers and melts the pavements. Next. The Frankenstein Jericho Lands Plan shows what the Frankenstein Broadway Plan is all about, except that there are no new parks in the Broadway Plan. The Jericho Plan is full of towers, blocking the mountains and preventing the sun from penetrating to the street and the sidewalk. You can see that at first sight. The Jericho Plan is no places are built in human scale, so there will be no sense of place at the Jericho, the Broadway, or the Canby Towers plans. Next. The Steve Buhus, skip one. Can you go back one? Yeah, nope, it's missing altogether. Okay, just go on. We'll go there. The problem with the Broadway plan is that it's based on a fallacy that I call the density fallacy. It mistakenly believes that by adding product, we will lower house prices. Next. Nothing could be further from the truth. Oh, you can go to the next slide. I see I got my order mixed up. Nothing could be further from the truth. Government is lying. Rezoning to towers adds value to the building parcel. Once developers overpay for the land, the price of everything else in the project just goes up with it. Next. Here's how it works. Here's a staff drawing showing their vision, towers circling the cottages. The mountains are no longer visible from the cottages. The view out of the cottage windows will be of the wall of windows from all the towers that are around them. Next. This is how land lift works. On the arterials, already zoned at 3 FSR, but not building out because our streets are designed to function like traffic sewers, so nobody wants to build there. Applicants can achieve twice plus the land lift by zoning up to 20 FSR. At 40 stories, the developers get a 7 times gift of density and height. Next. However, the big money is had at the cottages. The land lift here is 30 times greater. Next. Of course, we elect government to regulate the markets, not to jump in with both feet and profit from them. The problem with adding 30 times more density shows up in the sinking levels of social functioning in the neighborhood. Researchers find that social mixing sinks as the rate of population density increases. Next. Thus, on top of massive increases in the cost of housing, additional social pressures present as government ratchets up density. Experiments show how behavioral pathology shows up due to crowding. Most apparent amongst females, where many are unable to carry pregnancy to full term or survive delivery of their litters. An even greater number fell short in their maternity functions. Among males, behavior disturbances range from sexual deviation to cannibalism, which are all in isolation.
Great.
I ask you not to build this.
Sorry, and we're at time.
Thank you for
very
the chance
much.
to speak.
Okay. Speaker number 5, Lucas Pete.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Luke Speed. I'm a resident of Vancouver. I'm here to express my strong support for this project today. Vancouver continues to face significant housing crisis, and developments like this are essential to help increase the availability and accessibility of housing for people in our city. This project will make a great home for many people. I think it's located in a great neighborhood and is highly walkable and has access to public transit. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 6, Dustin LaPrairie.
Hello, councillors. I appreciate the opportunity to participate today, and will keep my comments very brief. My name is Dustin LaPrairie. I've lived in Vancouver for most of my life, and have recently returned after some time living abroad in London and Dubai. The rents in Vancouver are on par with some of the most expensive cities in the world, and I think we'd see things improve on this front by building more housing, and rental housing in particular. I'm in support of the application before you, which seeks to add close to 200 new units of rental housing in a great location that is well served by transit and close to employment. Again, I support this project, and I hope you will vote to move it forward.
Great. Thank you very much. Speaker number 7, Robertas Kuchtovas. And I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Roberta Skutovas, and I would like to express my strong support for the rezoning application on West 11th. This proposal brings almost 200 new rental homes to the neighbourhood, including 20 at the low market rents, which I think is a positive step towards a greater affordability in our city. The mix of homes being offered means that young professionals, families, and seniors could find a home here. It's a great area to live in, and I have no doubt these will be rented quickly once they hit the market. I hope to see the council support this application, and thanks very much for your time.
Great. Thank you very much. The next speaker is speaker number 8, Andrea Avison. Nope. Okay. Speaker number 9, Jake Boxer. Oh, okay. Speaker number 10, Alexander Lasheras.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Alexander Lasheras. I'm a Vancouver resident, and I live on the 1600 block of West 11th Avenue in Fairview. I'm here today to speak in opposition to the proposed rezoning at 1665 to 1685 West 11th. I walk my neighborhood daily, and I've noticed more and more rezoning signs going up, towers with hundreds of rental units and underground parking, but this proposal isn't happening in isolation. It's one of at least 3 towers proposed within a single block radius. That's a massive amount of density for a quiet residential street, and it's hard to see how roads like West 11th and Fur are expected to absorb that level of change without serious impacts to traffic flow and safety. Street parking is already difficult. Cars regularly speed down our block. First Street backs up during peak hours. Adding hundreds more residents and vehicles without a clear public plan will only make these problems worse. What concerns me most is this: no traffic impact study has been made available to the public for this rezoning. For a project of this size, city policy requires one. If a study was done, it must be disclosed. If it hasn't been done, then council should be not approving this rezoning until it is. Residents have a right to understand how developments of this scale will affect their streets, safety, and daily lives. There are no visible plans for traffic calming, no strategy for managing deliveries or service vehicles, no clear protections for pedestrians or cyclists. It all feels reactive, not proactive. I support housing, I support thoughtful growth, but this kind of planning feels rushed. And for many of us, it feels like the Broadway plan is being rolled out faster than our communities can realistically adapt. It's unsettling. These decisions are moving quickly and without enough transparency or long-term thinking, and it's future generations who will be left to deal with the results, the congestion, the disconnection, the missed opportunity to do this right. You, as councillors and mayor, are in a rare and powerful position, a moment where your decisions will shape Vancouver for decades. Growth shouldn't mean chaos. Maybe we don't need to rush to 2050. Maybe it's 2075. But if we get there with care, with less harm, and with real community integration, then we've built something meaningful. But we can't get there without proper process. A development of this scale requires a traffic impact study, and it has not been made public. Council should not approve this rezoning until that study is disclosed, reviewed, and shared transparently with the community, and until proper mitigation strategies are clearly outlined and addressed with residents. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Great, thank you. Speaker number 11, Michelle Burrell.
Hello, Mayor and Council. I am calling from the West Broadway BIA in support of the project. I've met Mark, the developer, through Jane from the West 4th BIA. He is a local resident. He's a local patron of the businesses in the neighborhood, and he cares about the tenants and about the impacts that he is making in the neighborhood. I do think that rental housing is very much needed in talking to the businesses surrounding the proposed development, even though it's outside of our BIA. They have connected with us, especially during the transit construction time, and expressed the need for more foot traffic and more support for their small businesses. I also agree with the previous speaker about the traffic study and the impacts to traffic, however. So I do hope that in moving forward with these developments, that those studies are taking place or can be shared with the public, and also looking at developments that are constructed in a way that factors in multiple needs in the neighborhood. The Hollywood Theater development in our BIA is a great example of community engagement that took place, and a wonderful mix of small and large businesses, though not applying specifically to this. It's just a great example of community engagement and how valuable that is when developers and architects and community partners all come together to work together for a proposed development. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. So this is the third and final call for speakers. If there are any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll free at 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 106-1445#. Before the close of the speakers list, the phone number will be posted on X and made available on the live stream. If there are any additional speakers in the council chamber, please come forward to the podium. So do we have any other additional speakers? Great. So we're going to take a 2-minute recess for any additional speakers to come in and come forward to the podium. Has that been 2 minutes? Probably been about 2 minutes, eh? Okay, so Clerk, do we have any additional speakers online or in person to provide comments on this item? Okay, seeing no further speakers, the speakers list is now closed. Clerk, has there been a large volume of public comments received on this item since 3 p.m.?
No.
Okay, I am now closing the receipt of public comments. Seeing that there are few or no public comments received after 3 p.m., I'm now closing the receipt of public comments. Does the applicant have any closing comments? No? Great, thank you. Do our team members have any closing comments?
No closing comments from staff.
Thank you very much. Does council have any final questions for our team members, noting that no additional questions to the applicant are permitted? Councillor Maloney.
There were a couple of questions by public speakers that I just wanted to follow up. So with the loss of trees, could someone speak to what's planned in terms of replacing any trees that need to be taken down?
Thank you for the question, Councillor. As noted previously, there's 17 trees on site and 14 will be removed. Additional details will be figured out at the development permit stage.
Okay. And also we've been hearing quite a few concerns about pace of change, but it's my understanding that the economic conditions are such that things are going a bit more slowly, and a bit more details about that might be reassuring to people. So especially, I don't know, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot, but what kind of percentage are we seeing of projects that have been approved moving to the development permit stage in a very timely way?
Thanks for that question, Councillor. I'll turn that over to my colleague from the Broadway Plan team.
Hi, thanks for the question. Chris Ma from the Special Projects Office. So, yeah, we do expect there to be some natural pacing to these developments. They're quite, many of them are quite large-scale developments, and they will take time to construct. We don't expect all of them to move forward simultaneously. I don't have stats offhand how many rezonings have proceeded to the development permit application stage. There have certainly been some, but even those we do expect to kind of construct at their own pace. So while we do have a lot of applications and proposals forward, how things build out kind of remains to be seen.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby-Young.
Yeah, thanks. When I asked earlier, staff said that they hadn't had a chance to consider the applicant's offer. So I just wondered if you can provide any further information on the process that you'll undertake with respects to the existing tenants and the right of first refusal that the applicant has extended the offer.
Thank you for the question, Councillor. I'll turn that over to my colleagues in housing.
I'm sorry, my tech cut out. Would you mind repeating the question, please?
Okay, I'm just going to note that I have limited time and I'm at 40 seconds now. So my question was following up on my earlier point when staff said they had not had time to consider the process by which they would fulfill the applicant's offer to extend the right of first refusal to all on-site tenants.
So staff have a condition for the TRP for eligible tenants, and the applicant is welcome to extend those TRP protections to other tenants in the building. If council wishes to see these rights secured for the additional tenants, we'll need to see an amendment to require it as part of the condition.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Dominato.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a really brief question. I guess the applicant can't answer my question now, so maybe I'll ask staff. Is this a concrete construction, this tower?
Thanks for the question, Councillor. It is.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, where are we here? Okay, so Clerk, did we receive any additional public comments since the close of the public comments?
No, we did not.
Okay, so Council, we're now going to make a decision on the application. Do we have a mover? Thank you, Council. Thank you. There's no yellow memo. No. Okay, so Councillor Kirby-Young moved it, seconded, I believe, by Councillor Dominato. Thank you very much. Council, is there any discussion? Seeing no one in the queue. A reminder that any council member participating virtually whose video is disabled will be marked absent for the vote pursuant to section 14.13 of the procedure bylaw. I'm now going to call a vote. If we can all please register our votes, that would be great.
Mayor, it's Councillor Montague. I'm just rebooting my X panel. If I could get a vote assist in favor, please.
Thank you very much. Great, and that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Thanks, team. Congratulations. Great. So the next item on the agenda is item number 4, CD-1 rezoning 2267 through 2275 West 7th Avenue. Before we begin, does anybody wish to declare conflict on this item? Seeing none, the clerk's now going to read the application and summary of correspondence received.
This is an application by Acton Austri Architects Incorporated to rezone 2267 to 2275 West 7th Avenue from RM-4 Residential District to CD-1 Comprehensive Development District to permit the development of a 20-story residential building containing 190 rental units with 20% of the residential floor area for below-market rental units. A floor space ratio of 6.5 and a height of 63 meters, or 207 feet, with additional height for rooftop amenity space are proposed. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability recommends approval, subject to conditions set out in the summary and recommendation. The following correspondence has been received since referral to the public hearing: 40 pieces of correspondence in support, 12 pieces of correspondence in opposition, and 3 pieces of correspondence dealing with other aspects of the application. This represents all correspondence received up to 2 p.m. today.
Thank you very much. This is the first call for speakers. Any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll free at 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061-445# before the close of the speakers list. The phone number will be posted on X and made available on the live stream. There will be an opportunity for new speakers and missed speakers to be heard at the end of the registered speakers list. We do have our team members from Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability here to present the application.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Luke Reynolds, and I am the rezoning planner presenting the application considered under the Broadway plan. The site shown in red is located on the north side of West 7th Avenue, mid-block between Vine and U Streets. The site and surrounding area are zoned RM4. The sites along Broadway are zoned C3A, and there are several CD1 zoned lots in the surrounding area. The site currently contains one detached dwelling and a 3-story, 25-unit rental building. Eligible tenants are protected under the Enhanced Tenant Relocation and Protection Policy. The site is well served by public transit, bike routes, parks, childcare, and community facilities, and is within 2 blocks of the future Arbutus station. There is frequent bus service on Broadway and West 4th Avenue, and the site is also close to the 8th Avenue Bikeway and is also within 2 blocks of the Arbutus Greenway. The site is located in the Kitsilano North Area B sub-area. The plan permits 20-story market rental buildings with 20% of the residential floor area secured as below market rental units and a maximum density of 6.5 FSR. The application was originally submitted in December 2023 and later revised in October 2024. The applicant is proposing a 20-story tower with rooftop amenities, including 190 units, of which 20% of the floor area would be below market rental. Of the 25 rental units on site, there are 9 tenancies eligible for the tenant protection, and a density of 6.5 FSR and a height of 63 meters or 207 feet are proposed. This table compares below market rents and market rents by unit type. Starting rents for the below market rents units are to be discounted 20% below city-wide average of market rents. As shown in the table, this means that the pricing units would range anywhere from $1,300 to roughly $2,800, depending on the unit type. From June 19th to July 2nd, 2024, a virtual Q&A period was held in which 138 pieces of correspondence were received. Bless you. Support was expressed for the rental housing proposed, its positive impact on the neighborhood, as well as its location close to public transit and bikeways. Concerns received were related to height, density, and massing, negative impacts on neighborhood character, as well as traffic and parking. Regarding the proposed height, density, and massing, staff note the proposal is consistent with the intent of the Broadway plan. It is appropriate due to the proximity of transit routes, schools, shopping, and amenities in the neighborhood away from arterials. Regarding neighborhood fit, this application meets the form of development anticipated by the Broadway plan, which seeks to incentivize new housing options in close proximity to rapid transit and amenities. Regarding traffic and parking, the application meets the expectations of the parking bylaw and will provide a transportation demand management plan at the development permit stage. Staff anticipate an overall reduction in vehicle trips with the completion of the new subway. The public benefits of this application consist of 190 rental units, with 20% of the residential floor area secured as below market rental, as well as a combined payment towards DCLs and public art totaling approximately $1.96 million. Of note, the applicant has requested a 100% waiver of citywide DCLs for the residential floor area. Ultimately, this proposal aligns with the Broadway plan and advances the city's rental housing targets. Staff recommend approval of this application, subject to the conditions outlined in Appendix B of the report. Staff and the applicant team are available to answer any and all questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Would the applicant like to present the application if in attendance?
Good afternoon again, Mayor Sim and members of council. Once again, my name is Mark Austria. I'm with Acton Austria Architects, and I'm here with my colleague Derek Fleming, representing the applicant for this rezoning, who is also the same applicant as the previous rezoning. We don't have a presentation, and in the interest of your time, I will not repeat the exact same remarks about the applicant that you've already heard. I would, however, like to reiterate that the applicant is sensitive to the disruption to tenants that moving entails and is in a unique position to being able to assist all tenants in finding alternate housing, potentially in the same neighborhood at other properties owned by their family, should that be what tenants are looking for, in addition to committing to offer all tenants first right of refusal to return, whether they are eligible under the TRPP or not. As staff noted, this project will provide 190 secured rental homes with 20% below market rates in compliance with the Broadway plan policy, replacing 25 market rental units. Once again, we'd like to thank staff for their hard work administering the Broadway plan policy, as well as the tenant relocation protection policy. And we'd like to thank you again for your time this evening. Our consultant team is here in person or online to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Oh, hold on a sec. Request to speak here. Are there any questions from council to our team members or the applicant, noting that this is the only opportunity for council to ask questions of the applicant? Seeing no one in the queue. This is the second call for speakers. If there are any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll free at 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 106-1445 # before the close of the speakers list. The phone number will be posted on X and made available on the live stream. We're now going to hear from the public. Any registered speakers in the council chamber, please come forward to the podium when your name is called. Speakers will have up to 5 minutes to make their comments and should limit their comments to the merits of the report being considered. So our first speaker today is speaker number 1, Adrian Tom. Is Adrian present or on the phone? Nope. Okay. Speaker number 2, Jack Rowden.
Yeah, I'm here.
Please go ahead, Jack.
Hello, Vancouver City Council. First off, thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of this project on West 7th. I'm a renter in Kitsilano, and I've definitely experienced how difficult it is to access quality rental housing in easily connected transit areas. I'm lucky enough to live close to a bus stop, which makes it easier for getting to work. For those who end up living in this building, being near transit will create manageable daily commutes and support better work-life balance. These developments are exactly what professionals need to establish stability and our city retain a skilled workforce. For this reason, I support this project that will deliver well-located rental homes near transit, restaurants, grocery stores, parks, and beaches. Thank you for your time, and I hope that this project gets approved.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 3, Kate Pattison. Kate on the line? No. Okay. Speaker number 4, Louis Villegas. That was very convenient.
I have a presentation. Good timing.
Okay.
Okay, my name is Louis Villegas. I am a 40-year Vancouver resident with 40 years experience in urbanism, practicing in Canada and the United States. Next. This tower, along with every tower approved by government in the Broadway Corridor Plan, perpetuates the housing affordability crisis, destroying families, destroying neighborhoods, destroying the Canadian middle class, and evicting folks from the places they call home. Next. All that misery is being rained down upon our neighborhoods by government for what purpose? Next slide, please. Thank you. For this purpose, to build towers. Towers make money and government is after getting some skin in the game. And big towers, of course, make lots of money, but just for a small cadre of the development industry. Next. Of course, as human beings, we perceive both objects and spaces, yet I can only find towers in the Frankenstein Tower plan. I mentioned that because this space was created in the concept plan that I provided to the City of Vancouver for the Olympic Village, which at the time that I got involved was going to be all towers. The real estate department told me at that time that the reason to build towers was that the city would make more money. Next. The Frankenstein Jericho lands plan shows what the Frankenstein Broadway Towers plan is all about, except there are no parks in Broadway. The Jericho plan is full of towers blocking the mountains and preventing the sun from penetrating onto the street and the sidewalk. No place is built to human scale, so there will be no sense of place in Jericho. Next. A housing affordability crisis is created when the rate in salary increase, as shown by the dashed green line at the bottom, cannot keep up with the rate of increase in house prices in blue or condo prices in orange. We elect governments to regulate the markets, not to gin them up or jump in with both feet in search of profits. Next. Here we are at City Hall Square where a weak understanding of how to design a good urban space is predominant among staff. The plan masses 5 towers to block the mountains and the morning sun. In the afternoon, as the sun moves around City Hall Tower, it will reflect off the glass of the towers and sizzle the people on the square. Next. Jericho plan illustrates the concept of scattering towers like chickenpox. You see how the towers are all spaced uniformly, and in footprint they're all more or less the same. That's about as bland a neighborhood as you could design. Next. Of course, we elect government. The problem with adding 30 times more density shows up in sinking levels of social functioning in the neighborhood. Researchers find that social mixing sinks as the rate of population density increases. Next. Like the link between cancer and smoking, the cumulative effects of crowding are usually not experienced until the damage has been done. An apartment with that is barely adequate becomes uninhabitable at the exact moment that a rising apartment house next door cuts off its view. Next. That was the quote. These conditions have been reproduced in laboratory experiments where crowding triggers a pathological drop in social functioning known as the behavioral sink. When populations of mice are given abundant resources in food and water but starved for space, aberrant behaviors set in. Aggression and violence, disintegrating family units, deviancy in the boudoir, withdrawal and isolation, population decline. Is anything like this taking place in our city? Yes, well, a sustainable immigration policy keeps the population numbers up. Birth rates are dropping in Vancouver. Next. Here are some examples from the neighborhood. This, believe it or not, is the daylighting of St. George's Creek in Mount Pleasant. The creek is nowhere to be seen. I took these pictures in daylight. You can't see water in there. It's all just concrete and steel. Next. I take this view for granted because Trout Lake is my neighborhood. But this is the legacy view, something that we should be very careful to preserve. And yet this is what council has approved. Next. We have seen the predictive power of computer models like Steve Buhas's model right here. The closest mountains are 25 miles away and they reflect on the water. The towers are just a kilometer away, so of course they block the water as well. We're working on a slide that will show you what the place will look like when the towers grow all the way around. Next. Finally, in New York City, in 1850, this bridge and this lagoon was created where you go down to the bottom of the city and you can't see a tower. Council, don't vote for this building.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
The
Mayor.
next speaker is number 5, Issam Antar.
Yeah, I'm here.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Council, for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Issam Antar. and I'm a 26-year-old renter living blocks away from this West 7th development. There's no question that Kitsilano needs more rental housing that is new, modern, and high quality. It's a fantastic neighborhood, and more people deserve the opportunity to live here. This project adds 190 secure units with family and below market options included, which makes it a very inclusive one. And I think it is a responsible and thoughtful development. Future renters will be lucky to live here. Please approve this project that helps keep Kits welcoming and livable for everyone. This project has my full support. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is number 6, Stephen Boss.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Thank you for your time. My name's Stephen Bose. I'm a renter, and I'm opposed to this rezoning. What you see here is the kind of rental that we need to be preserving across Vancouver. It's a gorgeous building, wonderful rental building. There's another one beside it, and both of them are slated for demoviction. It's evicting tenants, forcing them to move, and creating a lot of displacement. And there is a real human cost here. Let's not kid ourselves. Next slide. Good look at the rezoning signs from the previous proposal on this one. Well, I mentioned this is like a cookie cutter approach, same design used here in both, virtually the same design. So it's interchangeable. And my concern is that this is might be a rezoning to flip. And while the applicant says all the tenants might be able to return at below market rates or at full market rates. There's been no clarification. Next slide. Another slide of the information sign with a very wide angle. You can see both buildings. Next slide, I just want to zoom in a bit. And here on the slide, you can see the daycare mentioned. And there's a little sticker there that the rezoning has been updated, but it has not been updated on the sign. You could have put a sticker there. So I think there's a issue of consultation showing something different than what's on the sign and that not being corrected properly. It's a bait and switch, and that also I didn't ask for it to go forward, but I'll go forward. This is across the block on the other side. Two existing rental buildings would be rezoned at 2244 and 2280 West 8th. 3 rental buildings on a block would not have been allowed until you changed the Broadway plan to remove towers per block limits last December. And you really need to look at this block in context. So next slide. You can see the rezoning of the proposed 2 towers. No mention of the tower on the other side of the block that it's being looked at today. Next slide. And back to the information sign and another large rental building there. Talking about 4 rental buildings here on this block that are to be demo-evicted and displaced tenants. Next slide. Oh, here is the 3D model that I've created massing to show everything in context with the applicant's proposal there, kind of on the right side, and the other 2 on the other side of the block. Very high amount of density, a lot of shadows. It's not human scale. And a lot of displacement. So this is expensive market rental mostly, and the BMR essentially replaces a lot of the units that have already been there. A lot of displacement and a ton of land lift for that drives up the value of lands, as Louis Vegas has mentioned. Next slide. You can see that there's no laneway, and the Broadway plan apparently says that you need to have a laneway to allow for towers. And I know they're going to say, well, there's supposedly a laneway dedication that sometime in the future may result in a laneway, but there is no guarantee. So let's not kid ourselves. It doesn't follow that aspect of the Broadway plan because there isn't existing laneway. Next slide. So these are towers kind of in progress. 2 on, some of them have been approved. Some of them are going through consultation, and then you can see our current one in kind of in the lower left. There are a lot of density in one area, and the cumulative impacts have not been looked at. Next slide. And this is a build out with your amended Broadway plan. And this is not the Kitsilano that a lot of people imagine Kitsilano to be, or they want this kind of community there in terms of a human scale and livability and affordability. Next slide. So what's at stake? What's at stake is the Broadway plan, or as the previous speaker was saying, the Frankenstein plan is a plan that is made for speculators. It's not made for preserving existing housing, not made for preserving neighborhoods, and for tenants. There's a lot of human suffering ahead. Just keep tearing down existing rental buildings like this to replace them with high rises that have no relationship to human scale. It's just purely for profit, and in this case, it might be a lot to be flipped to another developer because of a generic design. So I will, next slide, mention that, yeah, the pace of change policy would have helped mitigate some of the issues with the Broadway plan, but the plan should be scrapped. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. The next speaker we have is number 7, Dylan Elliott.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to let me comment. And like I said, my name is Dylan. Yeah, I'm a renter living in Vancouver, and I fully support the project. You know, it would deliver 100% secured rental housing, including homes of different sizes and prices. So, yeah, listen, projects like this make staying in Vancouver a possibility for people who come to work here, contribute here, and want to call it a home long term. You know, so I believe it is important to support housing developments that create living opportunities for everyone who currently live here and for those who wish to build a future in this city. So I hope the council will move forward with this. Thank you, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak again. Thanks, Mayor and Council.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 8, Kyle, I believe it's Uy.
Yeah, it's you.
Thanks.
Hey everyone, my name is Kyle, and currently a resident of Kitsilano and lifelong resident of Vancouver. I'm here because I just wanted to share my perspective as a current tenant in one of the buildings owned by this landlord. In my experience, he's been very reliable, responsive, always staying on top of maintenance and addressing any issues quickly and maintaining very clear communication with tenants. That kind of care gives me great confidence that residents in this proposed new development will be in very good hands. We do need more secure rental housing like this in Vancouver if we want renters like myself to be able to stay and build a future here in the city. Adding 190 new homes, especially with affordable and family-friendly options, can have a big impact not only for us individuals but for entire households and families. I always appreciate that this project includes below market rentals. That kind of housing is rare and badly needed, so I strongly support this application and the new housing it brings to our city. Thank you for allowing me to speak at this time.
Great. Thank you very much. Speaker number 9, Philip McDougall.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you great. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. As you know, my name is Philip, and I'm a neighbor to this project at 7th and Vine. So thank you for the chance for me to offer my full support for this project. I've lived in the neighborhood for a few years now. I love this neighborhood. I love it for its walkability, its access to transit, its local shops, and its sense of community. And like many renters, I worry about rising rents and the lack of options and the possibility of being priced out. Kits has a long history of being welcoming and diverse, but without more purpose-built rental, we risk losing that character. Too many people, students, young professionals, families, and seniors can't find secure housing close to where they work and study. So adding more rental means more stability for more people like me who want to stay and contribute to this community. I urge Council to support more rental housing projects, especially near shops, near services, and near transit. We need to make it possible for renters to stay in Kits and for new neighbors to move in. So thank you for listening.
Great. Thank you very much. Speaker number 10, Jane McFadden.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. It's Jane McFadden from the West 4th Avenue Business Association. We represent just over 250 businesses and 150 property owners on West 4th Avenue. I think I've shared with you before that our businesses need more daily customers, more consistency in terms of shoppers and diners, and everything that makes the neighborhood vibrant is just having that offering out to residents within, the 10-block radius. This one is, as you know, at 7, so only 3 blocks off our BIA area, which would make, 190 units. If you do the math on that, that brings quite a few shoppers and diners to the neighborhood. And I think I've made mention before of one of the biggest hurdles of our business owners is being able to hire people that can actually live in Vancouver. Many of the people that work on West 4th Avenue, they live outside of Vancouver, and it's unfortunate because it causes, people to quit and lots of turnover just because there's a long commute. So I really would love to see more rental units and diverse housing around our area so that people could actually live and work within the neighborhood. I was reached out from this particular developer, and he reached out first and foremost to say, what can we do to support the community, which I really appreciate that, and just his language around what can we do? What do you need from us in order to make this a livable area for everyone to enjoy Kitsilano? So I urge you to support this. I know that the business community supports it at large, and development, of course, overall, just because we are struggling as business communities and need more customers with access. That's very close. Thank you for listening.
Great. Thank you very much, Jane. Speaker number 11 has withdrawn. Speaker number 12, Louise Mangan.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you great. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Louise Mangan. I am a resident of Vancouver for most of my 70 years. A private citizen. I am opposed to this project, although I dearly love Mark Ostry. I'd hate to disagree with him about anything. I do support densification, particularly on the major transit arteries, but also where aging buildings really need to be displaced or replaced because they're not providing viable, safe homes. Now, if the buildings that are in question here need to be replaced, then what my concern is with the height of the building. And I know you've heard a great deal of complaint about the height of buildings, but I have a concern that I haven't really heard much discussed. I believe these towers are inappropriate on residential streets, but mostly, I believe that towers are an inappropriate build in our context now. We're facing increasing climate impacts and increasingly contracted, constrained economies. The insurers are signaling that they're very soon not even going to be able to insure policies. We have a lot of warning that it's going to be a difficult, challenging time ahead. I did some reading about maintenance levels in high-rise buildings, in particular, in situations of economic constraint, depressions, recessions, etc. What happens? And I'm talking particularly about high-rises that are dependent, where people are dependent on elevators for core mobility needs, simple ground access, most of the residents in the building. There are strong correlations in the literature between economic stress and increasingly poor and irregular building maintenance and technical upgrades. COVID even should have taught us this. I knew of several people who ended up in this situation where economic constraints and compromised supply chains negatively affected the availability of parts. So in our future context, it may be that when your elevator breaks down, it can stay down and for quite a long time. And if any of you have lived in an upper story in a building with an elevator, and I have, we know that when the elevator goes out of service, the situation becomes quite unlivable day to day and potentially catastrophic in emergency situations. The other thing that we are hearing warnings of is cities can burn and in future will burn more frequently. And at that point, we don't have the fire department outside our door to deliver us from the building that we're trying to get out of. And at that point, community becomes incredibly important, and community is precisely the thing that suffers with high rises. So I want to plea that we need simple buildings, climate conscious, community conscious, health conscious buildings everywhere in the city. We've all heard much discussion among friends and neighbors about the need for family-friendly and affordable housing, and I have heard only strong support on fulfilling this need. The buildings that I hear and feel personally support for are the ones that are being built along King Edward and Cambie. You can tell where my typical routes are, elsewhere in the city also, where there's, 5, 6, 7 stories max, much more humane scale, where people can help each other out of a building if need be, green space around them, community spaces in them. These buildings are universally, in my experience, pretty amenable to both community building and neighbors. Neighbors are much more amenable to those buildings in their midst. I have 3 quick things to add. Traffic along West 7th, and we live on 7th, is already dangerous. The street is narrow and it's virtually impassable now. And we can't imagine what would happen with a build on the scale of this proposal. There is also an iconic, gorgeous, ancient tree, one of the most noble trees in the area at the site of this proposed redevelopment. So whatever ends up being built here, please, please protect it. Honor the gifts that it provides. And finally, daycare facilities are a sad loss.
Louise, I apologize. We're at time.
Yeah, just to say that the city needs to make sure that daycares go in somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Louise, for calling in today. Speaker number 13, Benjamin Langille. Did I get that correct?
Hello, yes. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Fantastic. Good afternoon, Mayor Kensim and councilors. My name is Benjamin, and I'm a resident of Kitsilano. I'm speaking in opposition to the rezoning application at 2267 West 7th Avenue. While we all recognize the urgent need for housing, my primary concern is the growing trend of rezone to flip applications. I believe we need a firm commitment that this project will result in long-term rental housing and a genuine commitment to affordable housing. A building of this scale on a street like West 7th is going to cause obvious density problems that I think we are all aware of. And furthermore, I want to highlight the cumulative impact of these large-scale rezonings on current tenants. This project proposes to displace tens of households with so many identical applications being approved back-to-back across the city. Hundreds of tenants are being forced to compete for a vanishingly small number of available and, more importantly, affordable homes. The city support systems are overwhelmed, and I'd be surprised to find a local citizen who disagrees. I'm not against development, density, and an evolving Kitsilano. I believe it should be accessible to those at all income levels and walks of life. I am asking for a more thoughtful and sustainable process. We need you to consider the real-world cumulative effects of these decisions on the people who live here now and have lived here for years. I urge the council to prioritize development that genuinely serves our community and protects its current residents from displacement. Thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you very much. Speaker number 14, Adrian Tom.
It's Adrian Tom, and I'm speaking in support of this proposal for rental housing at 7th and Vine. As a family with small children, finding a 3-bedroom rental in Kitsilano was more difficult than it should be. We spent months searching for something that could fit our needs, but the reality is there just aren't enough homes for families in this neighborhood. I love that there are 3 bedrooms in this proposal and that 20% of the units will be rented at below market rates. Kitsilano is such a great neighborhood. There's a strong community, great local businesses, and it's obviously very walkable. When it came time to find a home that could actually accommodate our growing family, we had to consider moving out of this neighborhood, not because we wanted to, but because we felt we had no choice. I'm here in support of more housing in Kitsilano. More housing opportunities mean more families can stay put, stay here and put down roots. That's good for the community and for schools and for local businesses. So I truly hope that you support this proposal and others like it. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you very much. Now, this is the third and final call for speakers. If there are any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll free at 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061445 £. Before the close of the speakers list, the phone number will be posted on X and made available on the live stream. If there are any additional speakers in the council chamber, please come forward to the podium. We're now going to take a 2-minute recess for any additional speakers to call in or come forward to the podium. Councillor Mock, can turn your camera on, please. So we have quorum. Oh, we have quorum. Doesn't matter. Okay. So clerk, did we have any additional speakers online or in person to provide comments on this item? We have one speaker on the line. Okay. Speaker number 15, please go ahead. And if you can say your name and whether or not you're a resident of Vancouver, that'd be great. Are you there? Hi, 3762, are you there? Hello? Okay, the next speaker we have is formerly number 3, Kate Pattison. Kate, please go ahead. Kate, are you there? Right, they both disconnected. Okay. Oh. Hi, speaker with phone number ending in 3762. You're up. If you can please give us your name and whether or not you're a resident of Vancouver, that'd be great.
Hi, this is Fraser Blanchfire, and yes, I am a resident of Vancouver. I strongly support the new rental housing that our city desperately needs. Vancouver is the highest rents in the country, which is a factor of supply and demand, and there's no doubt that many more rental homes are needed, especially in desirable neighborhoods like Kitts. This proposal for 190 purpose-built rental homes will allow more people to live in this walkable neighborhood close to the beach, great shopping, regular buses, and future rapid transit station at Broadway and Arbutus. So yeah, I strongly support this.
Great, thank you very much. Do we have any other speakers online? Kate Pattison, great. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you great. Please go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hello. Thank you, Council. My name is Kate Pattison, and I've been a resident of Kitsilano for 22 years, and I'm against this project. Over the last 2 decades, I've seen family after family, some with kids, some without, leave the city because it's already unlivable and is projected to get worse. I do support affordable housing and densification, but it is being fast-tracked without proper planning of infrastructure and essential services or consideration of the affordable units being demolished. Building 23-plus towers in Kitsilano will displace many residents while actually driving rents up, as we've seen with the failed so-called affordable building at 1807 Larch Street, $2,600 per month for a studio and $4,200 per month for a 2-bedroom unit. This exemplifies how difficult it is to build affordable rental buildings when market prices are so far beyond what average renters can afford. Access to schools. Nearly every elementary school in Vancouver's core, including Kitsilano, has a wait list for kindergarten each year. Over the last 3 years, the number of kids on wait lists in the city has been between 250 and 350. Clearly, demand consistently exceeds supply, and this will only get worse. Childcare. Vancouver also faces a persistent shortage of licensed childcare spaces, with an estimated shortfall of nearly 15,000 spots for families seeking care. Kitsilano is considered a childcare desert, and most families are unable to access licensed spaces when needed. For children under 5 in Kitts, only 33% of childcare needs are currently met, leaving a shortfall of over 600 spaces in the neighborhood alone. Recently, a friend shared with me that when she went to apply at the Maple Care Childcare at Hudson Elementary School, she was informed they had 390 applicants for 12 spots. Because there were no childcare options, my husband and I made the difficult decision for me to stay home, as the battle to find childcare was not one we were going to win. Not all can make that decision. Since then, I have not seen the situation improve and demand continues to outstrip supply. This lack of essential service will only get worse with the projected level of rezoning and densification. All after-school care facilities operate with large wait lists, with the numbers indicating that many families are unable to secure after-school care for their children, including me. When my firstborn entered elementary school, I woke up at 4 a.m. in the middle of winter so that I could get on a wait list outside in the cold to get my child on a wait list to register them for after-school care. And this was a wait list, and I didn't get a spot. This is not a Taylor Swift concert. This is childcare. I was unsuccessful in securing a spot for my child. I cannot even imagine how difficult it will be to get kids into after-school programs once all the towers are built. Unless, of course, the plan is to have no children live in those towers. Is it? Community centers. Kitsilano Community Center is the main community hub offering childcare and programs for kids as well as adults and seniors. Given the expected population growth and ongoing shortfall in programs, additional community centers or significant expansions will be required to meet future demand. This is not just for kids. Community centers are widely used by adults of all ages. Never mind the lack of pools or trying to register for swimming. That is a presentation in its own right. Access to family doctors. Another presentation for its own right. I've been living in Kitsilano for 23 years. Did I mention? We do not have a family doctor. In conclusion, this exponential densification will displace many people who have been in this community for years, as well as place significant demands on local infrastructure, schools, childcare, healthcare, and community services that are already stretched. This not only will exacerbate the existing shortage, but will make Vancouver the most unlivable city in Canada. Kitsilano will sure be a new downtown with 23 plus new unaffordable towers full of transient people who initially will come with aspirations, hopes, and dreams, but then they will be forced to leave like almost everyone else I know because it's unaffordable and the services will not meet their basic needs. The community in the soul of Kitsilano will forever be lost for the profit of developers. I ask the City of Vancouver to ask what kind of a city you're imagining, where's your vision, and on whose watch is this happening? What are you going to do to make Vancouver not only affordable but actually livable? Thank you very much for your time.
Great, thank you very much. Clerk, do we have any other speakers?
No further speakers.
Seeing no further speakers, the speakers list is now closed. Clerk, has there been a large volume of public comments received on this item since 3 p.m.?
No additional
Great, thank you. So I'm now closing the receipt of public comments. Does the applicant have any closing comments? Nope, thank you very much. Do our team members have any closing comments?
Staff do not have any further comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Does council have any final questions for our team members, noting that no additional questions to the applicant team are permitted? Councillor Maloney.
I'm just wondering, we had questions about infrastructure in the area. I know we're getting a new SkyTrain close by, but are you aware of any other infrastructure being planned for this area?
Thanks for the question. Chris Ma with the Special Projects Office. So maybe I'll just say with the Broadway plan, there is a public benefit strategy that covers the first 10 years of the plan, and that outlines a number of amenity and infrastructure improvements that we're intending to make. All of those projects would go through the capital planning process and the capital budget after that.
And if residents are interested in accessing information about that, where should they go?
I'd say first by checking the Broadway Plan webpage. In the Broadway Plan, there's a whole chapter dedicated to the public benefit strategy, and then as things move forward, also keeping in the loop on the capital budget and the capital planning process.
Thanks very much.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, Clerk, did we receive any additional public comments since the closing of public comments? No, thank you. So council is now going to make its decision on this application. Do we have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Jill, seconded by Councillor Klassen. Council members, are there any discussion or is there any discussion? Councillor Klassen.
Thanks very much, Mayor. I just wanted to respond to the last speaker who came in after the break, and I think made a very common theme of comments that we've heard around the pressure on amenity and services, and particularly around childcare, family doctors. I know that there are a variety of explanations for why the pressure is being faced on that, and part of it is population growth, part of it is our growing communities. But I just wanted to recognize that I wanted to make sure that the speaker understood that we heard those comments, that those comments are among the issues that we're trying to address in our city right now, particularly around childcare, and it involves really the work that we do with senior levels of government as well. And I'm not pointing fingers at one area of government or another, just to say that these are live conversations, and I heard the frustration in the speaker's voice, and I do want to make sure that they know that we are in earnest, really trying to find ways to address some of these needs across our communities, particularly around childcare. We've had quite a bit of work and reporting done by our city staff about the shortages that we're facing, but we are working on measures to try and make sure that we can respond to the need across community, and it will just make it a lot easier for working families like the speakers to be able to live and thrive in our city. And so, again, when I hear words like that, I just want to just express the fact that they are not alone. They are very much among the voices that we are hearing, and that we take these matters to be very important and serious, and are working on them to the best of our ability. But I just want to really appreciate all the speakers that we heard today, but just respond to those particular comments. With that, I plan to support this new development. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Seeing no one else in the queue, a reminder that any council member participating virtually whose video is disabled will be marked absent for the vote pursuant to section 14.13 of the procedure bylaw. I'm now going to call the vote. If we can all please go to the voting panel and register our votes. Great, and that passes unanimously. So thank you very much, team members, for all the hard work you did. Congratulations. We need a motion to adjourn. Councillor Clausen, seconded by Councillor Kirby-Young. All those in favor say yay. All those opposed, we're not listening to you. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. I don't know if I'm not allowed to say that. All opposed, there's no one. It passes unanimously. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.